Assalamu alaikum, my dear students of Amanullah College and all the viewers. Welcome to my online class. At first, I want to know how are you all. I hope you are hale and hearty by the sympathy of Allah, and I am also well. I know that you are fighting against many natural disasters. I think that with the help of Allah, you will be able to overcome all the problems. Dear students, during this pandemic, you are staying at your home. So, I earnestly request to my beloved students to join my online class regularly and follow my lecture. And at the same time, you will give your roll number in the comment box. Today, I will have a discussion on the subject-verb agreements, and today's topic is use of right form of verbs. Dear learners, look at the whiteboard and read the short passages very carefully that I have already written on your whiteboard. There are some 1000 students in Amanullah Mahavidyalaya. There are some 1000 students in Amanullah Mahavidyalaya. Each of the students is disciplined here. They are regular at their studies. This is a short passage. Dear learners, remember that, or point to remember that, we noticed that in the first and third sentence, there are three sentences in this passage. In the first and third sentences, we have used plural verb, that is there are. There are is also plural verb. That we have used plural verbs, but the first and third sentence, third sentence we used plural subject and plural verb. We have used plural verb, but the subject in the second sentence takes singular verb. If we analyze the second sentence, there are some 1000 students in Amanullah Mahavidyalaya. This is the first one. Each of the students is disciplined here. This is the second sentence, and they are regular at their studies. It is third sentence. If we analyze the second sentence, each of the students is disciplined here. Here we used a singular verb with singular subject, because every verb must agree with its subject, you know. Dear students, if the subject is singular, verb will be singular. If the subject is plural, verb will be plural. Nothing but else. So, in first sentence, they are also used there. It is also introductory there. and the subjective matter is 1000 students. 1000 students is a plural form, so are is also plural. In the second one, each of the students, here each is subject is singular form, is also singular form. And the third sentence, they, as a subjective matter, we used here they. They is also plural form. Here we used a verb also plural form are. Dear learners, remember that the verbs agree with the subjects in number and person. In this case, you will maintain some important subject-verb agreement rules. Subject-verb agreement rules, that is harmony between subject and verb or agreement between subject and verb. There are so many rules. First one, we are going to analyze a rule number 1. A singular subject takes the verb in singular and a plural subject takes the verb in plural. This is rule number 1. Singular subject takes the verb in singular and a plural subject takes the verb in plural. Here are some examples that I have already written on your whiteboard. In rule number 1, there are some more examples. There is a table in the room. There are 5 tables in the room. He is happy. They are happy. If we go through the examples, we will see here a table is a singular form, is also a singular form. Next, there are 5 tables in the room. Here we used 5 tables as a plural form and verb is also plural. Next, he is happy. Here personal pronoun he as a subjective matter, also a singular form. Here we used is as a singular verb. Next, they are happy. There is also a plural form. Here we used verb to be are. Are is here also used as a plural form. Dear students, point to remember that sometimes a singular subject takes a plural verb in the subjective mood, that is cohesive or connective mood. In that case, you will observe an example that I have already written on your board. If the story were true, what would it matter? If the story were true, if we go through the example, if we analyze the example, we will see here we used the story is also a, sometimes a singular subject takes a plural verb. Here the story is a singular form, but verb is also used as a plural form. What is the case? What is the main reason behind this? Because sometimes we see a singular subject takes a plural verb when in the subjunctive mood, that is cohesive or connective mood. In that case, a singular subject will take a plural verb like this. If the story were true, what would it matter? Here the story is singular form, but we used where as a plural verb. Understand my point? Dear learners, beside this, an uncountable noun, though plural, an uncountable noun, though it may plural in sense, but it takes a singular verb. You have to remember that. An uncountable noun, though plural in a sense, it may be plural, but takes a singular verb. If we analyze this point, here we will see some example, just like her hair is black, the grass is getting long. This is uncountable noun. Here is uncountable noun, the grass is uncountable noun. You have to remember the point, the uncountable noun, though plural in sense it will be plural but takes a singular verb. So her hair, in a sense, her hair is also a plural form, is not it? But in a sense, it will be plural, but it always takes singular verb. So here we used is as a singular verb. Like this, the grass is also an uncountable noun, though it is a plural in sense, but takes in singular verb. So the grass is uncountable noun. It also accept. It also take is as a singular verb. Okay, dear students. Next number, we can use the plus adjective with a plural verb. The plus adjective plus plural verb. The plus adjective plus plural verb. Dear students, remember that we can also use article the. After the, there is also used an adjective with a plural verb to refer to some group of people in society. It also means some group of people in the society. As for example, the rich are not always happy. The old are generally respected. This is an article, definite article the, plus rich is also an adjective form, and are is also a verb of plural form. So article plus adjective, next plural verb. So we can use the a definite article plus adjective and then with a plural verb to refer to some group of people in the society. The rich are not always happy. The old are generally respected. So we used here the rich. After article, we used an adjective and we also used a plural verb are. In the same way, next sentence, the old, after definite article the, we used old an adjective, and after adjective, we also used a plural verb, that is are. The old are generally respected. Dear students, instead of fully knowing its rule, we often fail to identify the proper subjects. Repeat again. Instead of fully knowing its rule, we often fail to identify the proper subjects, or when we are in doubt whether the subject is singular or plural. We cannot identify it, whether it is singular or plural. This sort of gross mistake is called the error in proximity. In such cases, if we fail to understand whether it is singular or plural, in that case, special care is needed to keep in mind the real subject and to make the verb agree to it. Okay? In that case, we shall have to choose the proper subject of the sentence and we shall have to proceed accordingly. Otherwise, the sentence will remain defective. Understand my point? If we fail to understand whether it is singular or plural form, we cannot identify it. And when we cannot identify it, the sentence will remain defective. Therefore, students are advised to study the following examples very carefully that I have already written on your board. One of the boys is present here. In that case, if we analyze the sentence, one of the boys, here we used boys, it may be singular or plural, we may be confused, but sometimes we may be confused whether it is singular or plural, but one of the boys is present here or are present here. Here, accurate answer is, not are. The number of students is increasing daily. The number of students, here we use students, but the number of students is a singular form. So we used singular verb is, not are. The best of the boys has got a prize. The best of the boys, here used boys. It seems to be plural, but it is a singular form, the best of the boys. So we used has as a singular verb. The rate of the accidents, in this way, the rate of the accidents in our country is high, not are. So my dear students, instead of fully knowing its rule, we often fail to identify the proper subjects, or when we are in doubt whether the subject is singular or plural. And in that case, it is called the error of proximity. Understand my point? Dear students, next come to the point. Two or more singular subjects connected by and usually take a verb in the plural. The students, repeat again. Sometimes we see two or more singular subjects connected by and usually take a verb in the plural. As for example, Rohim and Korim are two brothers. Here we use Rohim and Korim, two different persons joined with and. This is a compound noun. Is also plural form. So used are. Rohim and Korim are two brothers. He and his friend have arrived here. Here we used he and his friend, two different persons joined with and. So we used a plural verb here. Two, remember that, two or more singular subject connected by and usually take a verb in the plural. So according to the example, you have to remember that this is the very rule. You have to maintain the rules whenever you want to make sentence correctly. Understand my point? Beside this, when and is followed by a negative word as no, not, the verb agrees with the word preceding not. Understand my point? When and is followed by a negative words as no, not, the verb agrees with the word preceding not. অর্থাৎ কথা হচ্ছে এরকমের যে and দ্বারা যুক্ত দুইটি সাবজেক্ট, এর একটিতে নো বা নট থাকলে উক্ত নো বা নটের পূর্ববর্তী সাবজেক্ট অনুযায়ী সবসময় ভার্ব লিখতে হয়। So when and is followed by a negative word as no or not, the verb agrees with the word preceding not. Understand my point? So there is two examples. I and not my brother have done this. So before not, here we used I and the verb is have. In the next sentence, only boys and no girl are guilty. Here, before no, we used boys is a plural form, so verb is also plural. Okay, understand my points? Dear students, we notice that every subject consists of two nouns joined by and. We take such a subject as singular if it refers to the same entity or idea, and plural if it refers to different entity or idea. Dear students, remember that if both the nouns can give the expression independently, we can take them for two ideas, but if they cannot, we can take it for a single idea. Understand my point? As for example, time and tide wait for none. Time and tide wait for none. Time and tide not waits for none, wait for none. Slow and steady wins the race. In this way, you can use subject agreement, subject verb agreements. That is subject harmony between subject and verb. No more today, and this is the end of my speech. From my discussion, I can surely hope that you will be able to know the technique and method of using subject verb agreements. Practice more and more. Practice, if you practice more, you will know more. My dear students, I earnestly request to you to practice more and more. Stay safe, stay with your book. Thank you for being connected with me. Allah Hafiz.